And joining me now, the head coach of the Bulloch Academy Gators, Pat Collins. And Coach, you guys are able to rebound from a couple of tough losses with a big victory and a region win at that against Trinity Friday.
Josh, it was a big victory for us. Coming off the John Millage non-region game, which was a crossover game, and then the debacle at Pinewood is what I'll call it, where we had a bunch of self-inflicted things that led to us not being successful there. It was kind of at a crossroads point for our team, and to have to go into that game where we were down two offensive starters, that being a 300-pound center and Dylan Overturf and Rodney Hill, who's our leading rusher. There was a little bit of anxiousness with our staff going into that game, but I was very, very pleased because collectively we played a very sound football game in many, many measurements. The kicking game, I always talk about the 30-30 measurement, about where possessions begin or for the offense or the defense, and we were 100% in that area. I credit Olin Anderson and the kickoff coverage team a lot for that. Secondly, the defense did a tremendous job against some very explosive skill players. Trinity, the one time that the Coleman kid early in the game broke loose, I think everybody saw the quickness we were dealing with him at quarterback. But they defended them very well. I think the final stats was 160 total yards that the defense allowed. And then the offense, I thought the offense did exactly what needed to be done in the game for us to be successful. We needed to lean on the offensive line, and those guys came through, just perfectly. We finished with around 350 yards rushing. Did not complete a pass, only attempted one pass in the football game. But more importantly, we ran 60 offensive plays and only had one penalty. So, I thought that was just a very all-across-the-board solid football game, and we needed it.
All right, well, this week you go into some fairly uncharted territories. You're taking on Bethlehem Christian at their place up on the road about 3.5 hours away. I guess the big question going in, they're a pretty good team, but are you guys going to continue to run that veer that was pretty successful for you and something that you've run personally most of your career up until the past couple seasons?
Well, we'll do what we think what best suits our players. Again, with the return of Rodney this week, he is a very dynamic player as a tailback. But we also saw that there's more than one way to operate with our team. It all turns back to offensively blocking people, and that's what we've got to continue to work on as a group is to live and win behind, I think is a fairly solid offensive line that when we do right, it doesn't matter who we hand the football to. Now, we haven't always done right, but those guys are trying and working hard, and I think to answer your question, I guess I've been very evasive and talked for about 3 minutes and not answered it. But to answer your question, we'll probably have a mix of what we did last week with some things that can feature Rodney's individual abilities.
And what do you expect out of Bethlehem Christian?
Well, Bethlehem Christian, when you look at their record, they've not won many games. They're a fairly new program with football. They're not the most physical team I've seen, but their individual athletes really jump off the screen at you. Their linemen are big. Their skill players are very athletic and can run, and they scare you to death because they do have those individual skills. Have they put it all together? Only one time this season have they put it all together. What I do expect, and this will be a fact, is it's a long ways up there. When we stop and eat our pregame meal in Madison, we'll still have a piece to travel to get to Bethlehem, which is west of Athens somewhere. So never been there. If you need a 3.5-hour getaway where you can think about what's going on, you can think going up there, see a ball game, go to the lake, and come home on Saturday.
All right, so the Gators up there at Bethlehem Christian Friday. Get out there and support them, and we'll hear from the players in just a moment.
Ready for fall? Us too at RJ Poe. Get ready to cheer on your favorite team in a new performance polo from Peter Millar, Southern Tide and AFCO. Ladies, we have the best brands and trending fashions. Complete your look with one of our best-selling shoe brands, Soft, On Cloud, and Free People. Shop these brands and so much more at one of our 3 locations, R.J. Pope Buckhead, Downtown, and Vidalia.
And now it's time to hear from the Bulloch Academy players. We've got Chaz Collins and Jake Wasden, and Jake, we'll begin with you. And Jake, big game this past week. You guys really rebounded nicely from a couple of losses, and you were playing without Rodney Hill, so you had to shoulder a little bit more weight running game. How do you feel like things went?
It went pretty good. We just kept running the same thing over and over, and it kept working, so we just kept running, and it worked well.
Chaz, I know Jake ran a lot of those runs behind you. How did you feel about the test of playing Trinity?
Oh, we executed right. Like Jake said, we ran the same play, and the offensive line we just shoved it down their throats, and we made big holes.
All right, for you as the as a running back, you got to like when we're able to run through some holes, but you also ran over some people there on Friday.
Yeah, well, as always, the O-line always opened it up for me and made my life pretty easy, so I like to get through, and then if there's somebody there, just lower and go with it. So that's what we did.
All right, so now next up, you guys have Bethlehem Christian coming up. I know it's a long ways from home to play this game. Do you feel like you guys are pretty focused right now?
Oh yes, sir, we are.
And what do you expect out of them?
Their defensive line, they're going to be big and they're going to be tough, but I think we're more prepared.
All right, Jake, same thing. Coming off that win, you want to keep the momentum going. You're going kind of far from home. You may be some focus issues when you go that far away. How do you feel about it?
I don't know. We just got to stay focused on the ride there and just stay warm, I guess.
All right, 7:30 on the road up near Madison, Georgia. The 3.5-hour trip for the Gators. Get out there and support them if you can.